Good evening, Somers, and welcome to the Somerstown Board Work Session, Thursday, September 2nd. If you would please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, and be seated. Okay, so the first order of business tonight is public comment. As always, the line would form to the right, my left.
And Rick, if I may, can I call for just a quick
Sure.
moment of silence for the 13 fallen servicemen in Afghanistan last week?
You may.
Thank you.
Okay, way to go.
Okay, the next order of business this evening is public comment. I'll make a motion to open public comment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So moved. Okay. Anyone here for public comment? Seeing nor hearing anyone, I will make a motion to close public comment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. So moved. Okay, so under the town board agenda is my COVID update. I was hoping to drop this item
Please.
from our agenda, but that does not seem to be the case. We are experiencing a bit of an increase in cases. The current trend seems to be a lot of breakthrough, Delta variant breakthrough with vaccinated people. I think they're adding to our increases. As a municipality, we have 61 active in our community at this point. We had been down in the 20s. We're getting, small numbers, but it's every day. So we had 2 new ones earlier in the week. We had 4 new ones today. So as new cases come on, old cases drop off after their 14-day or 10-day quarantine isolation periods are over. So, the variant is still out there, but people are using common sense. This town has been very responsive. Because of this increase, we did have to amend our procedures in the townhouse and our other public buildings where we had dropped the mask requirement for the public coming into our building. Our employees do not have to wear masks if they are vaccinated. If they are not vaccinated, they are required to wear masks. If you come into the townhouse now, we've reinstituted the mask wearing. So you have to wear a mask whether you're vaccinated or not. If you're meeting with a town employee, that town employee should be wearing a mask during the the face-to-face business that they're having with the public. So once again, we're following the best practices here. Most of our business establishments in town are doing the same. We're going to get through this. We know how to protect ourselves. There's a issue about getting vaccinated or not getting vaccinated. That's, to my mind, that's an individual choice. However, we know that to really curb the virus and the pandemic, people should be vaccinated. So with that, we're moving forward in this town with common sense. Even when you're in a store, I don't see people standing on top of each other. people are wearing masks. This is a trend I think is going to continue for quite some time.
Can I just mention something?
Sure.
I think boosters are available right now, or becoming available for individuals that have some immune disease, cancers or compromise. So I know my wife has gotten her booster. I think within the next month, I think they'll be available, from what I'm reading, that there'll be a cycle where we can get the mainstream population into a booster sort of regimen. So that's the.
But yeah, the breakthrough cases happen. My daughter, double vaccinated, careful. Came down with COVID.
Yeah. So 78% of Somers is vaccinated.
Oh, wow. That's
Wow.
Yeah.
So
that's a good number.
That's a big number.
Could it be 80? Could it be 90? Yes. But
That's of what age? Doesn't include children, though. Probably
Right. Yeah, it does not any child under 12.
Right.
But if you want to know the statistics, you can go onto our website. There's a link to the county dashboard, and it will tell you on a daily basis how many new cases, how many active in the community, and percentage of people vaccinated. So, people writing me emails all the time, and I'm saying, just check the website. So it's all up there for the public to view. Before we move on with our next agenda item, I just want to mention a few things about Ida. So it was a hurricane, downgraded to a tropical storm, wreaked havoc in Louisiana. We kind of lose sight when hurricanes hit in the Gulf. Boy, she came roaring up the interior of the country and hit us hard the other night. Flooding was the main issue. We didn't have wind, fortunately, but our highway department over the last year has made an extra effort putting in catch basins, upgrading them, upgrading stormwater infrastructure, and I'm happy to say we had no roads that got washed out last night. So that's to credit our current highway department and all the work they've done. And even today they work with the NYSEG crews. There were some road closures. They went out there with a Make Safe team from NYSEG and cut the trees up, open roads, and I have to say our work with NYSEG via the utility task force has really paid off for this town. We have a good relationship with them. They are very responsive, and we did have outages, but I believe we're next to none tonight, maybe one or two. But after that type of storm coming through, it's really remarkable. So my thanks to Highway and to NYSEG. Also, I just want to give some kudos out to our Somers Volunteer Fire Department. They were called upon to render mutual aid down county. As you know, down county was decimated with floodwaters. So some volunteer firemen from Somers went down with our boat and began rescuing people off of their roofs of their homes in Port Chester and Mamaroneck. So they've been down there. They went down last night, and I think probably returned sometime this afternoon. But a job well done for the Somers Fire Department.
Mamaroneck got slammed,
Yeah.
very much so.
Yeah, it's amazing when you see some of these pictures. Like cars up on top of cars, just Now the waters are receding. Look at today. Today was a beautiful sunny day. Just the day before it was a deluge. So once again, we dodged a bullet here. But you know what? It was because we were prepared, and so prepared that we were able to give mutual aid to Portchester, and Mamaroneck. So thank you to the Somers Volunteer Fire Department. Okay, next item on our agenda is the Somers Energy and Environment Committee update. Chairman Don Bleasdale, please come up.
Hello, Don.
Hello, everybody. How are
Hey,
you?
how are you?
Nice to see you all in person.
And it's nice to be seen. Thank you.
Yeah. So we, in a couple weeks, on September 29th, have a webinar we're going to do with Sustainable Westchester co-sponsoring. I believe it's energy ideas to button up your home. So it's kind of a winter weatherization, push. They're trying to, as some of you know and have done, there's still probably many homes out there that haven't, been updated, weatherized, and made more efficient. So they have, I think it's called Energy Smart Homes. I'm not sure what they're branding as. They're one of their kind of their initiatives. So they're going to help assist that, and we have a couple of. Someone from Healthy Home is going to be on, and someone else in the industry also will be on. So we're going to be sending out, I think, a blast for that. So we're hoping to get a number of people in town to do it, and so hopefully that'll help get a few other people.
Did you say date and time on that?
Yeah, it's September 29th. I believe it's at 7 p.m. But so yeah, energy ideas to button up your home. So they're a great resource, and we've used them a lot, and so as we will continue to do. So,
Is it going to be an open meeting, or something?
yeah, just to, be log on, and
Okay.
and I think it'll probably be taped as well. So
I think several of the town board members did participate in the Energize program, or
Yep.
the
Right.
healthy home
You and I did, right?
inspections, where they came in and made suggestions, and
Great.
It's
yeah.
a big benefit.
And
it's
it's-
really a great resource.
yeah, it's ongoing too, and I think up to certain income levels, you still can get that audit for free, which is a really good thing. Whether you do anything or not, it's nice to just get some metrics on your home and how much it's leaking air and all that. So. So they have a bunch of other obviously initiatives as well, but that's sort of a common one that I think still could find further penetration if people got an audit and took a look at it, and they spell everything out for you, giving you the return on investment. If you spend this much money, and there's still incentives too to do it as well. So in an ongoing way, it's a good thing.
Don, one of the best things that the Energy Environment Committee did was years ago. I know you've seen it. I think you've seen the DVD on it. I don't know if you're there. That day was at Somers High School, and it was during the winter, and it was all about a similar thing. Brenner Builders was there, and NYSERDA was there, and Healthy Home was there. All sorts of people throughout the whole high school. It's kind of like seeing a science fair for how to improve your home and save energy and save money. And there were keynote speakers and closing speakers. And I don't know if we ever put that on the town website. It's probably I don't know, Tom, 10 years ago? I don't know. So it might be outmoded, but that was a really good thing, and this is, I guess, a mini version of that in the virtual world and the time of COVID. We can't do better, but maybe one day we could do it again.
Right.
A lot of people found that really valuable.
You're right. I mean, it's, I don't know what just like with the solar panels, I mean, if there were 300 inquiries, maybe, half of them could get it, and then another, so it's you put a number of people out in front, and they see it, you get a free audit, and that's a great thing. So, another track with the clean the streets, complete streets, right? We've always been trying over the years to get hook up with trails and whatnot. So there's I think a high school big cross country meet that happens coming up in the next week or two.
Big Red.
Right. So Rick Warren and Suzanne Cox, two of the members on the committee, are going to set up a table, and we're trying to basically highlight trails in the town, just to to tell people about them. I mean, there's a lot of trails in the town, as you well know. And, we're working towards trying to get like a walks, do a Somers Walk Day on a weekend, just to try to connect some of the trails in the town so people know about it. Now, some of them I know are on private property, and that's where, we got to be a little bit, I guess, careful, but just in general, we're trying to promote that side of, the beautiful town that we live in and try to highlight that and let people know what's actually here. And we're trying to team up, I think, with the committee, Open Space Committee too, just to try to connect with them.
Yeah, I was going to mention, there's at least 10 miles of trails throughout the Anglefly Preserve.
Yeah.
Right, which I know. I'm sure if you asked how many people in Somers have gone to Anglefly, I've driven by it a zillion times and never got in there, so it's...
It's pretty cool.
So we're trying to do that.
But then there are the other trails that Rick Warren knows about that connect from behind the middle school over to Reese Park, and then from Reese Park to
Right.
Anglefly, from Anglefly over to Muscoot. So you got a whole network there, and I know Rick's talked about that for years, of somehow combining that. Then there's a trail from Golden's Bridge up to Baldwin Place that he's always wanted to have that connect too. So there's a lot of things that could be done.
Right. We just need, some wealthy benefactors who want to
Well,
help
that's
us
why
go
you're
and
here,
clear the trails and, but
We're loaded to the gills.
One could be listening to our meeting right now.
that's right, that's right.
Steve Robbins,
You
he's
never know. So we're also just, we're trying to work on ideas for doing like a quarterly, a talk on something. And we were talking about like invasives. There's a bunch of, people, there's some gardening people. I know, are you familiar with invasive stuff on properties? I guess they're like some of the bamboo. And
Yeah, we've had presentations on that.
right, so we're to do something once we can get back and meet, maybe at the library, do something on a quarterly basis on a little topic. So we're a couple of people are working on those ideas. And this is,
So, meet with the Open Space Committee. The guys on that team talk about the bamboo and those invasive, type of greenery, and how to handle it.
well, I think that there's some, I think, on my property, and it's almost impossible to get out of the ground, but someone did tell me you could actually eat it. So maybe you can harvest the, this is, that's on the New York Stretch Code, so just following up on that, one of the Boniellos, we've been playing phone tag. He wanted to come and just give his support for trying to, embrace the stretch code as a builder, working in town. So
For those who might not know, what does that refer to, the stretch
the
code?
stretch,
and
well,
how would
New
it
York
benefit
State,
us?
I guess
Yeah,
maybe in
energy
2020, just encouraging municipalities to upgrade the code, probably from an energy efficiency perspective, maybe like about 12% more stringent. And many towns have done that. I think, Briarcliff, I saw some folks, I think Bedford may have done it. The code is going up every, yearly basis. I don't know how, there's like a 3-year code, I think, that the local building codes work on. So there's constant upgrading in code. This is just trying to go a little bit more. And they just lay out a whole format as to how to do it. I mean, every town has the right to exceed the code if they choose, as I think Hastings on Hudson did many, many years ago.
Briarcliff, I think.
Briarcliff may have, right.
Bedford.
And so,
All right, so this is not the first time you have
Yes.
brought the stretch code to us.
yes.
And, I did have my, I said, let me look into this, because is this more onerous for contractors who are trying to build houses? So I did kind of an informal survey of contractors, and almost to the one, they were saying, yes, it's a little more expensive, but it makes the most sense. You're making, what your product, when you sell it, is energy efficient. And that that adds value. So whatever extra, so I mean, that was a concern of mine. I've been convinced that, making our code a little more stringent to include energy efficiency is probably a good direction to go in. So I actually went and looked at the stretch code, and it's almost overwhelming.
In terms of,
So what I'd like is for you, and I think I asked Denise
to meet with
to
Tom?
check. Well,
Or-
to check with Hastings, Briarcliff, to look at their codes.
Well, God, this is pre-COVID. I met with the building inspector in Hastings, Charles Manazzi, nice guy, who maybe wasn't initially like, inspectors don't like to have more stuff thrown on them, but he was he thought it was really a pretty good thing. And you're right. I think your point is well taken. You're building a better product. The more energy efficient you make your home, I mean, we're not talking about, there's zero net energy homes which have basically no carbon. You have solar and geothermal, and it's very, very well made. You basically don't use any energy. It's all self-supporting. That's, an outlier. But to build a better home is better quality. You have, the metric that most jumps out to me is what are your carrying costs, right? You buy a home, you got a mortgage, you got taxes, but you're spending, are you spending $4,000 a year on utilities? Are you spending $5,000? Are you spending $6,000? Or are you spending $2,000? So if you're spending $2,000, that's a big difference. If you're spending half of what a leaky, inefficient, older home, that's money saved for people, and that's not a number that people often think of when they're looking to get the new home. But that's what's coming is because people are doing this is when you buy a home, you're going to say, what are your utility costs in this home? People want to know what you're spending. So that point to me is, assuming you're not overburdening the builders and the industry and people, you're building a better product. And you want to have a better product in your town, better homes, happier people, all that. So I agree.
Yeah, so I think, we would like to, for you and your committee to work with, Tommy.
Okay.
And, customize a code that this town board could look at, review.
Okay.
And,
North Salem is just about to go to public hearing,
Oh, are they?
so they have a local law that's drafted. You might want to take a look at
With,
that.
okay.
the-
Related to the stretch, Roman, do you know?
Yeah,
or-
they adopted the stretch. I saw it in the papers.
Really? Okay.
There's other practical aspect to this. I think in a couple of years, it's essentially going to be, the New York State code is going to evolve into where we are here. And I think there may be some benefits. Grant benefits if you are, you adopt this. Of course, I'd like to hear it from the builders as well. I think, and the way that stuff reads, it says that, it's designed to, integrate seamlessly with the building inspectors and so on. Of course, they're going to say that, but the question is how much, additional work and complication does that add? But we're facing this anyway at the state level. And so I applaud. Just take a look at all that.
Let's keep an eye on the North Salem public hearing, see what,
So Rick, in terms of, if you were to move forward, like if you would have that template to use, right, potentially, to then facilitate the process of the hearings and all that, right? Whether it was a stretch or some other, tailored specific code to the town, right? Would you need to work off of some other document to start the ball rolling, or what? What do you think?
Yeah, Roland, I think we'd have to look at current codes and what part of the stretch code applies to something that's existing that
Would have to change.
we would embellish.
You enforce the New York State Building Code.
Yes.
Right.
So my understanding is what the stretch provisions do is they single out those sections of the state building code
Okay, that's what I'm
that you're
talking
going to
about.
make more strict. That's something that the building inspector has to tell you. Which sections of the state building code does he think can be made more strict, that he can enforce, that he has the capability of enforcing?
Okay, so if he gets a look at North Salem's
That
or
would be helpful
Hastings.
to him, I think.
Yeah.
I would say that if you can gather together, you've already spoken to Hastings and whether I think Dobbs Ferry is.
Dobbs Ferry, yeah, yes.
It says Briarcliff, maybe Bedford is usually. You collect those, see what your ideas are.
And then
See, Tommy too, which of these things would apply or are satisfactory,
Right.
or we would want to do in Somers,
Right.
and then that'll get us a working document.
And the thing about, I know that Hastings, what was beneficial was they had a menu of options, right, in these areas you're talking about, right? And you had to get so many points.
Oh,
So it wasn't like you have to do this, you have to do that. You had to get a certain number, and obviously your big ticket items, getting solar panels or doing whatever. So I'm curious, and I'll look into it more. If the stretch code is de facto this has to happen, or there's a little bit of play, which to me, people always respond better when they have a little bit of a choice.
So did we get something? Somers was a energy something by the
Energy
state.
smart community.
Energy smart.
Yeah,
right.
we
And we accumulated points because we did not everything, but we did some
did
things.
enough.
Right. So I guess that's the same idea. They're saying if you're getting to the point where you are reducing energy consumption, how you get there is here's your options on that.
So maybe
That'd be
I'll
interesting.
see if I can compile or target the areas that are going to affect the code, and maybe I'll see if I can meet with Tom
I
just to
wonder
talk
if
with
Hastings
him.
is the only one who did it that way.
Well, they were the
Or
first,
the
as
others
far as
were
I know.
prescriptive?
It's a good question, but I think,
I mean, I like the concept. Let's look at North Salem. I mean, they're a like community. They were in
Yes.
Westchester.
Yep.
A lot of the same type of building type
Right.
things. Yeah, let's see if they have incorporated that as well.
Okay.
And if they haven't, and we put our code together and think, hey, let's adopt this part of it, we can certainly do that.
Okay.
But, yeah, and I'm not going to say misgivings. I never really had misgivings about energy efficiency. My concern was for basically the business, the construction industry,
Yep.
and how onerous this would be. And once again, the feedback I got was,
That's good to know.
yeah, it's more expensive, but then it makes a better product, has more value. So, to me, that,
Yeah, I mean, they're
works.
selling those townhomes down there for a good price, and a big part of the reason is because they're well-built, they're energy efficient, and, it's going to be a savings on moving forward, so.
The geothermal.
Well, that's right. Geo or solar are like the big ones that really, sort of set the stage for the rest of it.
And you've met with Ryan Boniello and talked about this, haven't you?
Yep. Oh, yeah. And so those would surpass probably the most stringent code in Westchester, what they're doing there. Just because you get the geothermal, that's like a lot of points. But you don't do geothermal and not make your envelope a little bit more insulated and secure. That's not a hard thing to do. The solar and the geo, and those are the expensive items up front. So, okay. Well, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
I'll circle back, okay?
Well done.
Thanks.
Work on your defense.
thanks, Tom.
Thanks.
Thanks for all your work on the committee. Much appreciated. Okay, the next item on our agenda is acceptance of the proposal for engineering support from Woodward and Curran for 2021, dated March 5th.
Absolutely not.
It's coming up on our September agenda, so we get it in before the end of the year. But obviously Woodward and Curran has been working with the town and our planning board and our planner, and this is their annual proposal to provide professional services. So unless there's any questions or issues with that, I'll move that to the consent.
I'll just
Yes.
say that, I've lately had the opportunity to kind of work on the other side with Woodward and Curran, and they've been doing a phenomenal job. They really have, and Steve is sort of their point guy, who I talk to, and he gets back, and he's been doing a real good job, so.
Thank you, we appreciate it.
I mean, and remind the public that you did we looked at maybe, 12 months ago, less than 12 months ago? We went through a whole review of, alternate providers, and, they are, hands down, had the broadest understanding and best execution, for us. And
But what I'm saying is even from the, again, we've seen them, or I've seen them from this side of the
I hear you.
table. Working from the other side of the table, they've been great to work with.
We appreciate our partnership with the town. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so that'll be on next week's consensus agenda. Okay, item 4 on the agenda, fireworks agreement.
Fireworks.
So we are proposing Somers Big Bang Celebration.
I didn't know that
Own
name.
Big Bang.
Well, I named it that because I think this town needs a big bang
Spot on.
after the past year and a half we've had. My only fear is, any type of restriction based on this little bit of an increase in cases. But I think, once again, I'll go back to my original statement about the town having common sense, and if we bring people we're going to return to Reese Park. People use common sense. They don't sit on top of each other. You're outdoors. We're going to restrict it to Somers residents only. And it's scheduled for September 18th. And we're going with our Garden State Fireworks company. They've always put on a great show for us.
They've been great.
And, I think this is something the community could really, it's come out and just enjoy yourselves. We're going to have a live band play. It's going to be from 5 to 9 p.m. The Somers Lions will be providing their famous barbecue. So come, grab a burger, hot dog, listen to some great music, and then when the time is right, we'll do a countdown and enjoy a fireworks display.
Rick, one quick question.
Sure.
I know I asked you about this, and I don't know if you had your meeting yet with the committee. I don't know if that's tomorrow or was it earlier in the week. I just had some groups reach out,
Yeah.
one in particular. Is it determined that, if a charity group wants to have a table there, that it's okay for them to come and, obviously we're not looking for people to sell things, but if they come and,
Yeah, I'm going to liken this to the old time when we were at Reese Park,
good.
where the community people set up tables. The only drawback to the not-for-profits and people that want to come down and set up tables is that it's from 5 to 9. It's no longer like from 1,
Right.
to 9.
And it'll be dark at
7:30.
7:30.
Yeah.
Right, so a couple of hours, but yeah, they're welcome.
Hey, for one, I like the fireworks going off about an hour and a half earlier than they were in the past, right?
So, right.
Do you know, is Andrea the band?
No, she was very disappointed, but she is not.
Oh, okay.
And
All right, that's all right.
I'm remiss, I was supposed to get the name of the band, but we will publicize them as soon as I get their name.
We want to make it a surprise?
It's part of the announcements. Tell me to be quiet.
Oh, it's part of the announcements. Be quiet.
Oh, that's why
You're ruining my whole
she's ringing the bell over there with her official Tusker bottle. That
was
would be a new
just-
fundraiser we're engaged in, I see.
I was just to make my phone call, my one phone call to get that answer. Okay.
Stay tuned for Patty when she will divulge the secret.
So I'm going to make a motion to approve the supervisor signing the 2021 fireworks agreement with Garden State.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Aye. And that's a unanimous, so moved.
No, I called Tim Carson.
Oh wait, it's not unanimous. You didn't.
That's fine, I got it.
Yeah, he's for it. Big time. Wireless facilities management. Yeah, he'll be back and we'll have a vote on it. Wireless facilities management proposal discussion. What is this? This is an agreement, management proposal from a law firm. I think they're out of Pennsylvania. Many of the other northern Westchester communities have engaged this firm, And what they're to work on is really the 5G facilities that are being planned for the future. Anthony and Bill with the Telecommunications Task Force have been looking at telecommunications, but ultimately, we're going to have a master plan to follow, but this would be codifying what the town of Somers would need moving forward. So, Roland, do you have any other, tell us a little bit about
Yeah,
their firm?
what really they do is they will come in and draft for you a chapter to the zoning code, which will cover the small cell technology, which is the future, apparently. And if you don't have it in your code, then they can just start putting it in to the rights of way because they already have that authority. So it's something that needs to be regulated. And Bedford was the first to recognize this, but the other communities are getting on board, and everybody is, as the supervisor said, is turning to this firm as a specialist in this area.
Has New York State offered any sample regulations or suggested regulations on this?
It's
or
federal.
anything
It's federal.
about it?
Not that I'm aware
No,
of.
okay, so we got to be ahead of that.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
this is, this will enter here and be regulated by the federal agencies. And so what they're going to do is craft this in a way that, gets us situated so we can handle that. Since after the Telecommunications Act of 1996, they essentially took a lot of the local governance as it relates to rights of way for putting cell towers. So next week, we're going to have Cityscape here, and they're going to show everybody the prerequisites of the master plan. This was the impetus. All the towns have done the impetus to sort of.
So why don't you just
Engage
mention
this, yes.
Cityscape, what Cityscape is all about?
So Cityscape was retained by the northern Westchester communities like North Salem, Somers, Yorktown, Bedford, Mount Kisco. And what they are doing is that they're analyzing the footprint, essentially the cell tower wlandscape. They're looking at density and they're overlaying capacity, and they're going to tell us and recommend to us, where we need to fortify or have more capacity. And they're going to do it in a way that's going to marry this with 5G as you go forward. So we're going to have an understanding of where the demand is and where the capacity is, and how we might want to work with telecommunications companies to sort of help fill in those gaps. And Westchester County's paying for it.
Yes.
Oh, that's even better.
Okay.
No, I think that's crucial.
Yeah.
Because one, that act you cited is one of my favorite ones to cite as a terrible piece of federal legislation, the 1996 Act. And 5G, may replace all those cable companies that we can't stand too. I mean, that's what some say. There'll be dinosaurs and it'll all be 5G. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what some are saying. So this, I think, is extremely important, and I think it's good you brought this forward.
Yeah, what we're looking to get, and we'll hear it from Cityscape when they do their presentation, but is they're developing like a master plan
Yeah.
that we can adopt. As Roland mentioned, a utility, unless you have some type of regulations already in place, can come in and say, okay, we're going to put these refrigerator-size 5G boxes all along Route 100, Primrose, whatever.
Is that about how big they are?
Something like that.
Is that? I didn't know.
And, what we can put in our code is, okay, if you're on this route, we want them to look like English telephone booths. If it's over here, we want it to look, like a mailbox. So, and they're giving us a master plan, but this firm that we just, are talking about would codify it. So we have the master plan, we have the code, and when all things come together and we approve all these and we get our code, we'll be ready for the utilities when they come at us.
Good.
Okay.
Cool.
So I'll move that to the consensus agenda. Tom, when you left the room. We voted on the fireworks.
Yes,
You voted on it.
I voted yes.
Okay. Let the record reflect. Thank you.
It was unanimous.
Yes, it was unanimous.
Mr. Supervisor, I'm going to be recusing myself from the next discussion.
Okay, acknowledged. Double poll legislation. I think this speaks for itself. If you look around Somers or Westchester, anytime a utility, as NICEAG is in our area, they came through and replaced many poles. Somers is part of their resiliency project pilot, where they have initiated a ground to sky technique where they trimmed all the vegetation from ground to sky and put in strengthened poles. So right out here in front, you're going to see that pilot was done on Route 202-100, Warren Street, and Lovell Street. And if you think about it, those streets and the utilities serve Heritage Hills. And over the years, whenever we have outages or storms or crisis, Heritage Hills has always been on the top of the priority list. So NICEAG's been hearing from me for years that we want to harden the infrastructure going into Heritage. Certainly, people up there, their utilities are underground, and NICEAG has been working as well, putting in underground cabling and upgrading that. So that's all the good news. But when NICEAG abandons the old poles they were on, they go up high, and you'll see them out front here. What's remaining is they notify Altice and Verizon that they have now abandoned the pole, and it's Altice and Verizon's responsibility to take the poles down and relocate their cables up onto the NICEAG pole. I've watched the new poles go up. I've watched NICEAG do all their work. We have a contact, Dylan, from NICEAG, and the meeting I had with him said if you can notify the town when you notify the Verizon and Altice when they can move their wires, I would appreciate that, because then we can follow up with them and say, hey, when are you going to move them? Which Kim in my office has done. And if anyone's driven around town, you've seen cable wires along the side of the road. You've seen double poles. We've been hard pressed to get them to come and replace those poles.
To remove them.
Well,
Yeah.
yes, they have to take their wires and put them up, and then remove them. So this legislation would give us the authority to violate them if they are not removed in a timely fashion. I'm not one for a lot of regulation, but when you look around this town and see all these double poles that, frankly, some of them have been here for at least 2 years. You see X's on the ones out front. Those X's have been there since, maybe June. And the utilities have been notified that they should come and move them, which they have not. So this is some legislation another municipality drafted that I asked for a copy, and we looked at it. And those, it's fines of, I think the initial fine is $500 and then up to $1,000.
Per month, I thought I read.
Well, per day.
Yeah, it's day.
And once again, we didn't collect fines like that. We're trying to get their attention.
Right.
Because right now, all it is, it's a call from the supervisor's office to one of these utilities, and you're lucky, it's hard to get a hold of someone in Altice and Verizon. We do have contact people, and we do talk to them, but you're looking at the result.
Well, they have no
So-
incentive. I mean, these other okay, good. Our wires are still up. People are still paying us to get service. And meanwhile, we have poles, and
So I
some of them
kinda-
look dangerous.
I
And
say-
there's no disincentive for them to do it either. So this provides a disincentive. I don't.
I wonder
Yeah,
what
but it's
this,
not that simple.
Yeah,
I know you said that one of the towns chose to go a different way. Who drafted that?
They never adopted it,
Right.
to my knowledge.
Right.
And I have to find out more about it, but it's occurred to me that one of the reasons maybe they didn't go forward was, if you think about it, it's really a property right.
yeah.
Years and years ago, your forefathers gave to these utilities the rights of way easements to be where they are. And I doubt very much that anywhere in those documents is there a clause which says that they all have to be on the same pole. They have the right to have their own poles. So I don't know, having given that,
Yeah, sure.
how you think you can legislate against it
Well,
would be.
So,
Well,
you know,
the
the first,
industry practice, though, Roland, is to abandon poles.
It-
That's the standard.
But it's a matter of economic viability that they do that. I don't know that you can legislate it, since the property right has already been given.
Well, that's why we have a town attorney.
I know, but that's a big piece
well,
of research.
you know, so I start with asking NICEAG, what is their service level agreement with, their provider? So they have a pole, they're responsible for it. They're probably collecting some sort of rent or fee for that other carrier to essentially be on their pole, okay? Now, the thing is that they can turn around and maybe double the fee if in fact they put up a second pole. To your point, I don't know, I think you need to find out what NICEAG's, sort of baseline is for a new pole and an old pole, right? And, how do they continue charging rent on the old pole, right? Can they mandate them to move to the new pole, and they should double the charge?
I don't know that they mandate it. I think
Yeah, I mean-
they make it known that it's available to be moved, and that when they move, that then becomes their the last one who's still on the old pole inherits the responsibility to remove it. But I think that's just a custom in their
Yeah,
industry.
that's the,
I think that's a custom. But
they told us that at our NICEAG task force we had here. That question was asked. When we get off that pole, it becomes the people who are still on it. It's not our pole.
Yeah.
That's what
Right.
they told us.
so the
Now,
way
you might
that,
say they have the right. Okay, it's their pole. You still have the property right. So now, why would we move? And
so when you craft this legislation, who would you find? You would find NICEAG, or would you try to find Altice or anybody else who's on that second pole? I mean,
the people are still there.
For what infraction?
I don't know. I don't even know that it's an infraction, other than it would be an infraction of your legislation,
Right.
but not an infraction of their property right
right.
to have a duplicate pole.
But the reason why they're moving those poles is because, they're impaired, maybe safety issues with them,
Boils down to an-
I mean, essentially,
get it up higher.
yeah.
I mean, some
But
of these
that's their
poles are
issue.
tied
It's
to
not-
other poles because
That's
they're,
not a municipal issue per se.
Well, it's a municipal issue.
it's a
if it-
quality of life issue, I think, and a public safety issue.
Well-
And that's why I put it on the agenda for this,
Well,
this
this
type
goes,
of discussion.
this
I need
goes,
to find out more
Yeah.
about.
Yes.
but this sort of dovetails in some of the work you're doing with you're talking about figuring out how you're going to do the code for the new
Yeah.
5G. I mean, what you're saying is anybody can put a pole up anywhere and do what they want. You have
Right.
5 carriers, I'll have 5 different poles for 5G. We
Well,
want to co-locate things.
That's why you want to regulate it before it starts happening. But
Right.
here, it's already happened.
Right.
So maybe, like we just did with Comcast, we just signed a franchise agreement with them. So when,
Good idea.
maybe we put this in
The next time.
a
it comes up.
franchise agreement,
Well,
right?
it's coming up,
so.
right? It's coming up.
Well, you say property right. Is that a property right that they get through legislation from the town of Somers or through the state of New York?
Probably is.
Depends on where the road was.
It's right away in
The
New
local
York.
roads, you gave your predecessors gave easements. And on the state roads.
So
the
over
state-
here, that would be a state road, so that would be there. And to your knowledge, the state at no time has addressed this on state roads with double poles.
Not to my knowledge.
Right. So we might be able to do it on something on town roads
Going forward.
going forward, but the question is, can we do it on things that are already in existence?
Right.
Okay.
Okay, so we, we can continue the discussion.
And I'll find out more about what happened in Newcastle.
Maybe we know somebody in NYSEG that we can ask a question to, see if we can chase that down.
Well, Dylan,
Do you-
Dylan is our
Do you
contact.
think he's watching this discussion right now?
Yeah.
Carl Taylor, Carl, call in. We want to hear from you right now.
Well, the first priority was the heart in the network, and it's working, I think. So now we have two poles, one strong one and one not so strong.
Right. And we've made great strides with NYSEG, and I know we're trying to make those same type of strides with Altice
And
Verizon. It wasn't an easy lift with NYSEG, but I have to say, we were part of an executive committee studying Amy Paulin, Assemblywoman.
Right.
Well, you just mentioned that they were fined.
Oh, well,
we-
this goes back to Altice, but also NYSEG and, Con Edison were fined during that
storm.
last storm, Isaias.
But we got,
I mean, we advocated, we corresponded, we complained, filed complaints with the Public Service Commission. We participated and partnered with Northern Towns. We partnered with Amy Paulin, who was handling the complaint from a Westchester point of view, and they delivered all that to the Public Service Commission. The Public Service Commission was able to take all that in and essentially come up with, a list of, to-dos, so to speak. Deliverables that these carriers were going to have to comply with. Altice essentially said, hands up, I'll comply. They capitulated. They took the $80 million fine, and they said, we're going to work with you to do that. In doing that, they did not reveal all the competitive information to the public. So they were essentially working with the Public Service Commission, saying, we're going to do things about sustainability of our network. We're going to do things about emergency preparedness. We're going to do things about manpower, and then we're going to report back to them. Now, we have the opportunity to participate in that, and that's going to happen in the next weeks, months or so. But that's sort of the steps that we're going through. On the surface, I'm feeling that Altice has performed a little bit better during these storms. I mean, we're hearing outages, but there's still deficiencies, NYSEG reports every outage where they are. We know where they are. We don't get a call from Altice. I mean, we call them and he's on vacation or something.
It's funny. I sign up for these things. So when your service is restored, would you like us to send you a text or a phone mail? Yes, please. Yeah. So as soon as it's done, we're going to do it. So the service might come on at 9 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock the next morning. By the way, Ms. Clinton, your service is on. Thank you so much. I've been for 11 hours. Yes, they're right on top of it. So happy to see.
Well, anyway.
I know, it's just so typical of them.
okay, so we'll carry the discussion forward when we'll collect more information. And, maybe we'll contact Dylan and say, from the NYSEG's point of view about who owns the pole?
Yeah, right.
How do you conduct business and how do you get them to, when a pole goes down during a storm and they got to repair, their service, but they got to turn around and go to Verizon, Altice, and issue a work order and say, hey, look, this pole's down, your wires are down, your service is down. You need to get that repaired as well.
Right.
Right. They'll put the pole back up. They'll reattach, the utility services, but the other services that are on those poles are the responsibility of those carriers.
Right. Okay. So the next item is authorize a waiver for a permit fee estimated at $170 in conjunction with the Make-A-Wish Foundation request for a memo dated August 19th from Tom Tuma. Make-A-Wish is working with a young person who his wish was to have a hot tub. So we have a permit fee to pour a slab that this hot tub would go on. So the building department needs town board authorization to waive the fee.
No problem.
Yeah, so I put that on the consensus agenda. The next item, authorize permit fee waivers for owners who were issued a first-time building permit and plumbing permit in conjunction with a building permit between March 1, 2019 and September 2020 are candidates for having their permits renewed at no fee for a period of 12 months with the filing of an appeal to the zoning department demonstrating COVID-19 pandemic-related hardship per August 30th, 2021 memo from Tom Tuma. Can't tell you how many people have had issues with taking out a permit, then they can't get the contractor, they can't,
Yeah.
and we're charging them a fee to renew. So they pay, $1,000 for a permit, go out, try to get this work done, they're unable to do it. A year goes by, and they have to pay us another $1,000. And I really thought that this was this was a hardship that these residents are experiencing, that the town is imposing. This is something we have some control over. So after sitting down with Tommy and Stephanie, his assistant, and Kim, we came up with, this kind of formula. So one might ask, why is it March 2019? Because March 2019 permit renewal would come in 2020. So we would like to be able to offer this for current people who have outstanding permits during this time frame, and if people who already paid the renewal fee, they can appeal to the zoning board of appeals, the zoning department, to demonstrate, why they weren't unable to close out their permit.
I mean, some people just didn't want, they had a plan, they had a permit, even if they could get the worker, they didn't want them coming to their house during that time. So then they say, I gotta pay again? Oh, wait a second. I mean, it is a special circumstance at a special time.
So
You're 100% right.
But filing an appeal is really requesting, right? And
Yeah,
they're not asking
yeah.
for documentation and.
No, they're not going in front of the zoning board of appeals.
Well, I just want to be
They're
clear
gonna
on
go,
that.
they're gonna go to the building department, zoning department, which is Denise
Right.
and Tom, and, request. So I just, when this issue was brought to my attention, I said, it just doesn't seem proper to be charging people a renewal fee when they couldn't get the work done. So,
It's a great idea and very fair.
yeah. Okay, so if there's consensus, I will put
No,
that
yeah,
on
but it's
the,
consensus, absolutely.
okay. I'll move to the consensus agenda. Discuss and approve a 2% retro payment increase for non-union employees who did not receive a raise in 2021. Now, we've done this in the past when we've been negotiating with unions and have not settled their contracts, which is the case with our two unions, CSEA and the Teamsters. Those raises, once we have a contract with these two unions, those pay increases go to non-union people as well. Non-union people have not received any increase since January 1, 2021, whereas union people have gotten their steps, so they've gotten some increases, but they haven't gotten a percentage increase because those two contracts have not been renegotiated. So this is really a way of granting some relief to all non-union employees who did not receive any raise in 2021. So this is we're not setting a precedence here because we've done this in the past, and it's a way of recognizing, that, okay, you're not in the union, so we're granting you a 12% increase in your salary.
Two.
Excuse me.
I'll get people excited.
I wanted the 10%. Just trying to think. Yeah, this would be retroactive, obviously. And what this also does is, when we go back to the unions, we're going to say, they're going to say, well, why did all these other people get the 2%? Well, because your unions haven't signed a contract yet. So I would like to make this into a motion to approve a 2% retro pay increase for non-union employees who did not receive a raise in 2021.
Not consensus agenda, just, you want to do it now?
No, we'd like to get this
okay.
done sooner
All right.
than later.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And just to make it
It's fair.
clear, unless
So moved.
people who are in this situation never would get a pay increase unless the town board does it, because they don't have a contract that applies. So every pay increase for people who are non-union employees must be done through the town board, in a reasonable
Yeah.
manner, at a reasonable time, at a reasonable rate.
Yeah, we think it's the right thing to do.
Good.
For non-union folks.
I mean, typically this would happen, very briefly, it would, the contract would be negotiated, they would everybody get the raises all the time. At this point, we have a situation where the contracts are not negotiated for a longer period, and, the non-union folks are being held captive. And so we're just saying, let's just take care of them.
Okay, so we have motion moved,
Yes.
and we'll make sure that happens.
So that was unanimous, right?
Yeah.
It was.
Item 10 on Metro North, prohibition on parking discussion. As you know, I think at the last meeting, Metro North had asked us to provide a resolution prohibiting parking on 116 as to follow suit. North Salem passed a resolution prohibiting parking. This board felt that, look, it's free parking and it's safe
Safe.
parking. On the North Salem side, it's a different story. So we declined to prohibit parking there. However, Metro North has come back and said, we would like a resolution for the prohibition of parking along Route 202-100 from Croton Falls Road, down to, I guess, 116.
Which we had all agreed upon, so I didn't quite
No,
get
we
it.
did, but we didn't pass a resolution.
And what was the public comment? Public comment was favor of that? I remember that we got some.
There were people who had contacted us. I don't know if they were here that night.
They weren't here for public comment.
But they had sent in some
Right.
emails of people saying, I don't quite get this. I don't want to go to Croton Falls. I don't want to go north when I'm
Right.
going south. And I don't really want to go to Katona and park, so why can't I do what I'm doing? And that pretty much summed it up by there's a
Right,
few
but
of
that
them.
was in relative to the
116.
116.
Right, there was nothing about this. Everyone agreed.
Yeah.
Right, this is just, we're just fortunate no one's been,
Oh, yeah, it's dangerous up
Taken
there,
out.
especially when it's dark, yeah.
and that's why Metro North is in the process
Yeah.
of developing those 400s plus.
Oh, I see their point, because part of that is in the town of Somers along 202. That's why. I see. Now I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I didn't quite get it.
Okay, so I'm going to make a motion to prohibit parking along Route 202 and 100.
Rick, that's effective when? In other words, if that's going to be effective before the new parking garage comes up, that's going to put some people out.
Yeah, it's going to.
That's a good point.
Yeah, all right, we'll put it in the resolution. It'll take effect when the option to get into the parking lot is available.
Now, they cleared, at St. Joseph's, they cleared the school and everything.
Yeah,
there.
everything's raised.
Are they just going to pave it and put in parking space, or they're going to build?
No, it's going to be paved. There can be some islands. There will be some lighting. There'll be a sidewalk.
Okay, so it shouldn't be that long, as if they're not building a facility then.
No.
Okay.
Should not,
It
hopefully.
reminds me of Golden's Bridge, the way they have it laid out.
Yeah, is that right?
Reminds me.
Okay, so we have a motion, let's include,
Well, you're right, you don't want to do it before
you
the
know,
other.
it'll take effect,
When parking is available.
right? Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So moved?
Do we know whether it's going to be on a first come, first serve, or are they going to have reservations for the parking like
Well, I
we
think
do?
our town clerk can address that question.
I don't know. I don't know how they're going to, it's
Yeah.
for Metro North, so it's
So-
probably gonna be like Golden's Bridge.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
And it's gonna be Laz Parking's gonna run it, and,
okay.
I would
That's right.
guess.
Yeah, and I have to
Probably gonna be the
say,
same deal. There's
yeah,
Because Katona, Bedford owns that one.
Bedford owns all
Right,
of
so
those
this will not be
parking.
that.
Yeah.
Bedford owns all of their parking, although several years ago, Metro North came in and made them give so many metered spaces. Every parking lot that was privately owned.
Oh, is that
In the
right?
vicinity of a train station was made
And-
to give metered
Well, that's a good
spaces,
idea,
a
too.
certain number of metered spaces.
right, and frankly, I can't imagine there's a high percentage of Somers residents that take the Croton Falls train. You know, it's,
This is cheaper to go on Golden's Bridge.
well, it's
also-
Greenbrier maybe, Stonehill Road,
Stonehouse.
Maybe.
you know, but, you know, Purdy's and
Yeah.
Croton Falls. You know, I think Connecticut people come down mostly, so.
Although I go by that Katona parking lot, that is still empty. That is just still empty. So Bedford is counting on that money to close their budget. I think they're in
Oops.
some trouble. But, because there's no one parks there, I was just amazed. There's
Even
20
J Street.
cars a
J
day?
Street's empty.
Well, everybody's driving, the trains are not as crowded as they
Yeah.
were, but you notice
Yeah.
that the roads are very
Yeah.
That's true,
congested
because
right
people
now.
don't want to be in a car.
They don't want to be in cars,
Yeah,
you know?
Well, they don't want to be in
They
trains.
don't want to be in
Train
trains,
cars,
yeah, they
right,
want to
right.
be in their
Passenger
own
cars.
vehicles.
right.
Nice guys, train cars.
Train cars. Train cars.
Okay, number 11, adopt a road program for Forest Lane and Eastview Place to Lake Drive, renewal agreement. Look, there's a volunteer out there that wants to adopt a road, which means cleaning, maintaining it.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, our thanks. So we'll put that on the consensus agenda. Like to move the November 11th, 2020 meeting, which is Veterans Day, to our regular meeting to November 18th. I'd like a motion to do that.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so moved. Okay, financial. Authorize the adoption of the 2021 highway paving budget to be funded by the 2021 paving bond. Bond issuance costs will be funded by the general fund per August 25th, 2021 memo from Robert Kehoe, Director of Finance. I would like to move that to the consensus agenda, if there's no objection.
Second.
And then authorize the 2021 budget modifications per email dated August 25th from Robert Kehoe, Director of Finance. That also will move those budget modifications to the consensus agenda. So we're gonna have money there'll be some road paving going on in 2022.
Good.
And I can't miss up an opportunity to mention that when we went for these bonds, we made the case, and we are finally rated AAA. So we're getting great interest rates.
I mean, the interest rate's under 1% for 10 years.
Wow,
It's an amazing thing.
It's enormous.
It is.
that's a good
It
thing.
is. You
It's
keep
free
waiting
money.
for them to go up, and they're not.
Okay, personnel. We have openings on our affordable housing, board, partners in prevention. Assessment Board of Review, we have an upcoming vacancy on that. If anyone is looking to volunteer for the town. Acknowledge the retirement of Police Officer Thomas Dunn from the Somers Police Department effective August 31st, 2021.
Second day of retirement, he's on.
Yeah, Officer Dunn has
Crazy
been
2
with
days for Tom Dunn.
Somers Police Department for 20 years. So this is our third retirement,
That's right.
over the summer months. But, Officer Dunn has been an asset to the town, and we wish him well in his retirement.
Definitely.
Okay, number 4, request permission to increase the hourly rate of Kathy Mullahan, who's a part-time immediate clerk in our Parks and Rec Department, from $18.26 to $20.26 cents per hour, from a memo dated August 5th, 2021, from Steve Ralston. Kathy's been with us many, many years, and this is certainly warranted. So I'd like to make a motion to approve the hourly rate increase.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Request permission to transfer Ms. Jeannie Garrity, no relation to the deputy supervisor, from the nutrition department to the finance department as a part-time senior account clerk at an hourly rate of $25 per memo dated August 25th, from Robert Kehoe, Director of Finance. Ms. Garrity has a background in and has worked in accounting. So Bob found that out. We're going to give our finance office all the support it needs. So he's happy and Ms. Garrity's happy. So I'm going to make a motion to permit this transfer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I must say, I am sure she's extraordinarily qualified because he's been looking to fill that position, I believe, for 8 months. So his standards, I know, have been quite rigorous, and as he's gone through, I guess, a variety of applicants or whatever. So I have great confidence that Ms. Garrity, no relation to the deputy supervisor, whom I have great confidence, but great confidence in her.
Yeah, well, I don't know how he was able to negotiate the transfer with the nutrition director,
Right.
who was, having a hard time
He has to
retaining
deliver
employees.
meals, actually, now in return.
Yes. Okay, proposed consensus agenda for next week, except bonds. Authorize the return of the following bonds. These have to do with bonds, erosion control bonds, and return of, okay. And then third on the consensus agenda for next week is in an effort to retain talented and professional staff, and based on current salary surveys for the receiver of taxes and the senior nutrition director of neighboring municipalities, the town board approved the following salary adjustments effective August 1. The receiver of taxes, an annual salary adjustment to $85,000. The senior nutrition director at an annual salary adjusted to $95,000. Now, this is a protocol we've been following to retain, these talented professionals. What they do is they come to me. I said, look, show me a survey. They go out and they present the survey. I present these surveys to the town board in executive session. We discuss them and agree upon them. So at next week's consensus agenda, these items will be on there for approval.
Roland, just one question. I was wondering, I don't know where in the back of my mind has this, that in an elected position, to change the salary, are there requirements you do it at the beginning of a year or the beginning of a term, or
Not
it's the
all
same as anyone else?
Doesn't include the receiver
Oh,
And the
okay.
judges. And the judges.
and the judges.
Oh, those are exceptions to
Those
that
are-
rule.
they're
But for
list
other
exactly
elected
who-
officials,
Yeah.
Because you have to publish the other salaries, proposed salaries.
Supervisor,
At the beginning of the
town
year.
board,
And then if you
highway
change
superintendent,
those,
town clerk.
you have to have a public hearing.
right.
that doesn't apply.
I know we
doesn't.
did that, but I didn't see
Okay,
anything.
so I was sort of
Those are
right.
what's required to be published.
Yeah, well, you're right for the clerk.
Sort of.
We couldn't do it for the clerk.
Though,
In this matter.
Lord knows we all would want to.
Although some towns they do list all of them, but you're not required
You're
to
not
list all.
required to.
Oh, you mean including receiver of taxes and
And
judges? Oh.
You're not required to.
Is there a more usual procedure or protocol for towns?
I've seen it both ways.
Is it-
50-50.
So is it town
I don't know if
charter
it's
or?
50-50, but I've seen it both
New York
ways.
State.
New York State
Legally.
municipal law.
Okay.
Thank you.
Right, that's why we have to approve the elected officials,
Right.
budget, during budget
I
season.
knew there was something in the back of my mind about
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, our next scheduled meeting is September 9th, which time we will have a public hearing on the proposed law to rescind Chapter A 172 entitled Amwalk Heights Water District of the Code of the Town of Somers and enact a new Chapter A 172 entitled Somers Consolidated Water District Number 1.
Okay.
All right,
I've
so,
been waiting for the announcements,
yes.
ever since I heard about the band announcement.
Okay, so
That
we're
Rick and Rich almost blew.
at the point in time in our meeting where we kind of
Bruce Springsteen will be appearing. He's part.
we kind of relax a little bit. It's a little more informal, and we have a good time with announcements and trivia if there is any.
Ooh.
Just saying.
Oh, yeah.
It was a rough day. Anyway,
Telling me.
so the town of Somers is hosting a blood drive on Tuesday, September 7th from 2 to 8. It's right here in the Yellowfin Hotel in the meeting room. Appointments can be made by calling the New York Blood Center at 1-800-933-2566, and all COVID-19 protocols will be followed. There's a September 11th memorial ceremony celebrating the 20th, in honor of the 20th anniversary of September 11th. That's going to be held on Saturday, September 11th at 10 a.m. in Bailey Park, the site of the Unity Garden. Parking will be available at the Elephant Hotel and St. Luke's Episcopal Church. In the event of rain, the ceremony will be in the church. There's going to be some people who are going to address the crowd, and I happen to know our supervisor will be addressing everyone.
Okay.
Very good.
And I'd be privileged to do so.
And then the town of Somers Big Bang Fireworks Celebration. Rick has already told you it's 5 to 9 p.m. on
That's the official name.
on Saturday, September 18th. There will be the famous Lions Barbecue and live music provided by the Thrown Together Band.
Okay.
The rain date will be Sunday, September 19th.
Well, that's an interesting band name.
And then, for our fun fact, again, September 2nd is a slow day in history. But Bob Denver, better known to all of us as Gilligan, passed away in 2005.
Oh, Gilligan's Living was such an uplifting,
Yeah, and it was a 3-hour tour.
He's not Denver, I was thinking.
Hey, Rick, if I could just add real quick, I want to congratulate everybody and wish everybody well as school started a couple
Here,
days
here.
ago. I was able to drop off a college kid and a ninth grader, so we wish them well. Parents who are watching, check your email. They're changing a little bit of bus schedules around for some of the schools because there are a lack of drivers out there. So some of them are getting moved up a little bit. But let's be patient with the school. They're doing the best they can, and as always, they will get it fixed. So, but good luck to all the students.
Yeah, best wishes.
You didn't mention the Library Foundation, did you? I'm sorry.
No, that wasn't
The
The
Somers
run.
Library Foundation is having a 5K family run.
Right.
Now, I don't know the date, but
Maybe it's not until after next meeting. Maybe.
well, it could be. It could be. It could be.
I don't
But
do the
you know what?
Step on them.
They're looking for runners, and I know that if you go out to the library website, you'll see that, and they want to coordinate that, so you can sign up beforehand on that day, and they're looking for sponsors. as well as runners. So Somers Library Foundation. You know, they always help the library. It's a good organization. And I know this because Jacqueline is the secretary of the foundation. So, yeah.
And Patty, when is the first football game with your son?
That's next week's announcement.
Oh my!
But to
Next-
plan
the
ahead,
first
there's 8
football
days
game.
to go.
I am so.
Well, we
First
could do it
football
twice.
game will be on September 10th, right here at Somers High School,
Home game.
versus the Mahopac Indians.
The
I
battle of
don't
the-
even know if they're still the Mahopac
Battle of the
Indians.
Demands.
The battle of the brothers.
Okay,
It'll be
so,
interesting.
I'm going to wrap up where I started with commenting on the tropical storm Ida and the Somers FD response. I got a notification that they were recalled back to Mamaroneck for a 12-hour shift. So, they're still hurting down county, and let's send out our good wishes to all of them, people who are suffering down there with, flooding conditions. So Somers is doing its part. And I also want to commend the Somers School District as well. Somers is one of the only school districts that did not cancel or delay school today,
Yeah.
which only goes to show that we are Somers strong. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Second. Aye.
Aye. So moved. Good night, Somers.
Good night.